is Annette Green back again in my weekly 2023 planner, coming to you just a little bit later than I normally do each week, so thank you for your patience. If you have never joined me before, I am sharing 1 week in my life in the year of 2023 in my planner. This is my full-size planner in the vintage black by Elizabeth Craft Designs. And we are on week 13, so I will flip ahead to that. It's been a busy weekend, and all week last week it was all about getting ready for the Create and Craft show that I did just yesterday. So that's why I'm a little bit late. So here I am. I'm going to be working on this one page. I do one page per week. And I do know a couple of things that I want to use, so I just want to share like how I get started like that. Since it's going to be all about being on the Create and Craft show, I am going to just have this page be about that, because that's really all I did last week is get ready for it, and then my husband was sweet enough to watch it yesterday and take pictures on his laptop. So there's really only going to be maybe 2 main photos and the other elements that I want to feature. And so what I know that I need, of course, is my week 13. So I am using, again, Planner Essentials 37, the stitched letters and numbers set. So, I mean, these are the dies, but eventually I'll cut them in paper. I know I want to use that. I have to use that. I have my show notes from the producer of Create and Craft, so I have their logo right there. I think I'll work that on the page. May just cut it right out of here, may resize it. I don't know yet. I have it all in the same size there, so we'll see. And then I thought it would be fun to incorporate this particular die, which I haven't used a whole lot. This is an easel and a little artboard die from the set Planner Essentials 59 Art Party, which is perfect, right, for Create and Craft. So I don't know if I'll use the little paint palette and little paint dabs there to put in those circles, the paint brushes. I don't know. I just know for sure that I want to start with that, and let's see where it goes from there. So I'm just sharing how my thought process is as I get going. Knowing that I have my main photo here and maybe another one here, I definitely this week want to leave a little room for journaling, just because of the whole excitement of the being on the show and how wonderful the staff was and the producer, and then of course our presenter Nigel, you know, fantastic. So it was a great experience, and I really want to document that this time. So there will be some journaling somewhere, and then of course I want to incorporate some of these stamps of mine just cause they're brand new and they're available now, just like all my new dies. I don't know if I'll use any of my new dies here today, but definitely in weeks to come for sure. One thing to point out here with this die is right now I'm showing it to you with the die cutting part straight up, facing this way. So it's something you need to remember, because when we die cut, of course, we're going to die cut this way, and I don't want my easel to be over here. You know, I want it to be just as I see it there. So I'm going to have to cut from the underside of whatever I use here for it to be on this page over here, and the same with my little artboard. If it's going to sit this way, then I have to cut from underneath. So you just have to remember that. You may have noticed that my work surface looks a little different than what you're used to seeing, and that's because I did change it up for Create and Craft especially. I didn't want to have those big glare spots for from my lights on that glass top mat. I do love my glass top mat, but I like this. I like this for videos. It's pretty nice. So it may stay this way. We'll see. So here I am. I have printed out my photos, and a lot of people ask me what kind of printer I have, so I will just say it again. I have a Canon Pixma TR8620. At this point, I've probably had it at least a good year or two. I don't remember, but when you go to look for that, it might look like an older printer at this point. So just kind of keep that in mind. And also, when I print my photos, as you see, I print them twice. I kind of have a plan about the size, but sometimes I just make another one a little bit bigger just to have the option while I'm using the printer paper anyway, which is great because now I can lay my die on here and kind of compare and see which one of these is going to work better. And it really is this one, this first one. Same with these here, just to have some options and use the paper, since I'm going to be using the paper anyway. So another thing I wanted to show you was I went ahead and die cut that sweet little easel from the underside of the paper. So you know when you die cut, and you die cut from the front like this, you know, it has that nice little round edge to it, but then if you flip it over, then that edge is kind of sticking up. So easy fix, I just take a smooth side of my bone folder, and I do this all the time when I have to cut from the other side. And you just sort of flatten out those little raised areas so it doesn't look so obviously cut from the underside. And that really does fix it. It looks great. And just so you know how this is going to go, I did go ahead and trim out the photo just with scissors really close, right on the edge, because I am going to be cutting this from the other side and I don't really know exactly where it's going to land. I feel like this is the best way to do it, so I'm going to tape this on there before I run it through the die cutter. And you could always hold it up to the light like a sunny window and see through where that die is back there, which I will do one more time before I tape this, but that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, I've got some ideas formulating here. I have all my photos on mats. I chose a very similar kind of olivey green for this particular mat, and on the photo of Nigel and I. And then down here we have two congratulatory beers. After we did the show, Paul and I went to eat and had a lovely pizza and beer. And so I knew we had the word cheers in one of our die sets, and this is a little older one, but I did hunt it down. It is from Planner Essentials 24, the photo frame pages. This is an older one, but it's a fabulous one. It's got all these dies in it. So I pulled that. I don't know if it's still available, but I will check and put it in the links below if it is. I just wanted that cheers down there with our beers. And so here we go. I've got 13 in brown up there, but then when I did cheers, I decided I needed some more of that same red. So I am going to layer that like a drop shadow. And before I get anything down, this is where I want to get a decision made here on the journaling area. And that is exactly why I designed this particular stamp with all the journaling lines here. And this is in the Bloom stamp set. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use my stamp platform just to make sure that I get a good impression, because you know we have this on the back, so you have to be a little bit careful. And I know there's all different stamp platforms out there. Mine is the Misty, and let's see, since I'm going to stamp over here, I don't want the magnet there. Just have to make sure I get that magnet somewhere. Okay, so if I kind of place this stuff back where it was, I can get an idea of where this is supposed to be. And we got to stay away from those holes there. This might come down a little bit more. Maybe even a little bit more. Okay, because I don't want to cover up Nigel there. Nigel was awesome. So I'm going to move this down. And we know we have the easel in my picture over here, so I think that's a good position right there. And I probably will repeat a little bit more below it. And I see that I'm going to ink right onto my cushion here, so I will sneak a little maybe post-it note under there so I don't mess up my area. Okay, make sure that's nice and straight. I think it's good. I don't care about those holes. Okay, that's good. And then I'll get that carefully. Move these guys now and grab some ink. I have chosen this vintage sepia color. I don't really want the rules to be super heavy and black, so I'm just going to use my VersaFine, which does a nice crisp stamp. And grab my little doohickey here. Give it a little press, just gentle, and then I can check it. Now I do see a few spots there, and that's probably because of what's going on in the back side of my page. So I'm just going to ink up again, do it again, and then focus a little more with the pressure on that one spot. Much better. And before I even go ahead and do that, I'm just checking, and I'm thinking I don't need any more lines. So I'm only going to do it just that once. I think that's going to be fine. All right, now I want to put something up here, and I realize we're in April, so I think I'm going to stamp April there, but before I do, I'm going to grab this particular stamp that's also in the bloom set. Looks like that right there. And I'm just going to use part of it, just as a little coming in off the page decoration. I like it because it's just, you know, it's kind of outlined, it's not real heavy, and you know, just a subtle little decoration on the page. I think I like that, and I'm going to do some down here. Why not? I'm just using some, I'm starting to get into these VersaFine Clair ink pads. I really like VersaFine. They just stamp so nicely. So I think that looks good. And then I think we have to have a bee somewhere, because that's all we talked about during that show yesterday, was how much we love the bee. We both love the bee. All right, so I think I'll stamp that bee, since we have our 13 going to be red. I think I can still use the brown to stamp my bee. So let's do that while I have that ink pad open. Always give it a little test over here. It's a pretty light brown, so I really want to ink that up. If I don't get it inked up well, it doesn't really stand out. All right, we'll put that right there. Wonderful. Okay. All right, I feel like I can start gluing stuff down now, and then we can do some finishing touches. All right, here we go. So I did grab April 2, and in the past I think I used a die, but I think I'm going to use David's new CS293 Journal Dates and Months stamp set from the Art Journal series. Perfect. All the months and all the days and numbers, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So I have mounted April 2nd because that was yesterday when we did the show. And I'm going to stamp it in red. Now, just to show you, I did test it out to see was it going to fit, and you know, was the color good and all that. So I always do that just to make sure. Now I'm going to pull it way in front of me so I don't put my head in the camera. And just stamp April 2nd right there. Cute. And you may have noticed as I was gluing things down, I did add a little more stamping of the green kind of fern stamp just to fill that out a bit. And I'm kind of feeling like this is good. I wanted to maybe put something here, but I don't want to fill up all the spaces. So I am going to ink the edges of the page and take a moment to journal. And I will post a picture at the end of the video with the journaling done and the page complete. But I do thank you for joining me today. Today is Monday, the 3rd of April, and I know this isn't a live, but I am doing the Facebook Live on Elizabeth Craft Designs page in just a few short hours. So I thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the live later, and I'll see you next week, week 14.